Hello, welcome to Extension Network. My name is Zoe and I am Family and Consumer Sciences Agent with University of Georgia Extension Services here in Cobb County. So today we're going to talk about holidays and food. I hope that's everyone's favorite topic. So holiday season is upon us, and that brings numerous gatherings and parties. And let's face it, food is a major theme for holidays, except gifts, of course. A large crowd to cook for, a big bird to roast, and too many cooks in the kitchen screams foodborne illness. But handling and cooking food doesn't have to lead to foodborne illness. Following basic food safety recommendations can prevent foodborne illness in the kitchen during holidays and throughout the year. So first, be sure to keep everything clean. That includes your hands and kitchen surfaces while you're preparing food. So I hope everyone knows the proper way to wash your hands and how long to wash your hands for. If you don't, then you need to count either to 20 seconds, sing a happy birthday song or ABC song twice. And I hope everyone knows those two songs. So also, wash cutting boards and dishes often and between each different foods. Next, always separate. You want to keep your raw foods, raw meats, poultry, and seafood separate from your ready-to-eat foods, such as cooked foods, fruits, and vegetables. And use one cutting board for raw meats, seafood and poultry, and different cutting board for your fresh fruits and vegetables. And never put your ready-to-eat foods or fresh fruits and vegetables on the surfaces that had raw meats before. And if you do that, you want to make sure that you wash your dishes and everything very thoroughly beforehand. Second, you want to cook your food to correct temperatures. And this is a chart for correct cooking temperatures. And you want to make sure that your poultry, whole, ground, or parts are cooked to 165 degrees. Beef, pork, veal, and lamb cuts cooked to 145 degrees unless it's ground. And if it's ground, it has to be cooked to 160 degrees. Your eggs and egg dishes have to be cooked to 160 degrees. And then your fish to 145. And you want to make sure that you reheat your leftovers to 165 degrees. And the correct way to take a temperature, you want to make sure that you are taking internal temperature of the food. And correct way to measure temperature, you want to use a food thermometer, calibrated food thermometer, and you want to measure it at the thickest part of the food. And you want to make sure that your readings are correctly, so taking two different readings at different spots. And finally, after you cooked your meal, you either serve it or you store it for leftovers. And you want to make sure if you are storing it for leftovers or if you are saving it for later, you want to make sure that you're chilling your food correctly, and you want to chill it within 2 hours. And when you are serving your food, you want to make sure that you keep your hot foods hot, which means at 140 degrees or higher, and your cold foods cold at 40 degrees or lower. So holiday foods can also inspire excitement and an anxiety. Excitement to eat all the delicious foods, and an anxiety trying to stay healthy during holidays. And today I'm going to show you two different recipes that can be a healthy alternative, or if you are going to a party, these two dishes that will help you stay healthy. That way you bring a healthy dish to a party, or you're serving a healthy dish, so you are more likely to eat it, and everyone else will enjoy the vegetables that you bring. So one of our dishes today is copycat Chick-fil-A superfood salad. And we have a recipe right here. And our recipe calls for cups of kale. So I already have washed kale and chopped up kale in pieces. I already washed my hands, but I'm going to put gloves because I am making ready-to-eat food. So our kale has already been washed and chopped, and we removed stems. And we have pieces of kale. Then we need 1 bunch of broccolini chopped, and we actually also use the stems as well, and you just want to thinly slice them. So we'll add our broccolini. Then we have 1/2 cup of dried cherries, but we didn't have dried cherries, so we actually used dried cranberries. So we'll add those. And it says roasted nuts to your taste, and we actually used walnuts, so we toasted them ourselves, and it's 1/2 cup of walnuts. And maple vinaigrette to your taste. So actually we're gonna make our own maple vinaigrette, and our vinaigrette calls for 1/4 cup of olive oil. So we're going to add, actually let me move this so you guys can see it. So we already measured our olive oil. 1/4 cup olive oil. 1/4 cup maple syrup. And then we need 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar. 1 teaspoon finely grated lemon zest. 2 tablespoons freshly squeezed lemon juice. And salt and pepper to taste. So I'm actually just gonna add a little bit of salt. And black pepper to taste. And then you want to make sure that your lid is tightly closed so it's not spilled all over. And then you shake it. And this is something that you can give to your kids or someone who is taking up room in the kitchen. Or you can play a game and pass it around. And everyone shakes it. So we're going to make sure that it's all shaked well. I think it's pretty good. And then we'll add some of our dressing to our salad. So I would also, to salad and toss well. So I'm gonna add a little bit at a time because you don't want to drench it in the dressing. And I'm gonna use my hands, but I'll put fresh gloves on. That way you will make sure that it's all of your kale and broccolini is covered in the dressing. And massaging kale can also help it, and it actually brings a vibrant green color. And here you go, voila, our salad is ready. And you all can see. And if you want, you can also add more walnuts and cranberries. And you can use any nuts or any dried fruit you wish. So I'm gonna put this aside. And then the next thing we are going to make are garlic parmesan green beans. So, so it turns out that most holiday foods actually are not that bad if you think it's like lean meats, it's a lot of vegetables. It just depends what you add to it. If you skip extra sauces, extra butter, extra gravy, it can help you save a lot of calories. And these are just the recipes that can show you that you can still have a festive meal, but you don't have to necessarily eat all those extra fat, salt and sugar, and extra calories. So our green bean recipe, we have a skillet here, and I'm gonna start it on warm. And we already washed our green beans and removed the ends. And you can also use fresh or frozen green beans. Frozen green beans can be just as good as fresh. You just have to make sure that they don't have any extra sauces. So it also depends when the fruit or vegetable was picked. So if something is not in season, you can eat fresh or frozen or canned and frozen just as good. You just have to make sure that you're not buying canned fruit with extra sugar added. So if it is canned fruit or if it is frozen fruit, you're choosing just fruit, and same thing with vegetables. And with vegetables, for canned vegetables, you want to make sure you're paying attention to the sodium. So you want to choose low sodium or no salt added. And if you don't find that, you can always rinse your vegetables. That will help you get rid of a lot of excess sodium. So our recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of olive oil. So we'll add and let that heat. Then recipe calls for 2 cloves of garlic minced. I'm actually using minced garlic in water, so 1 clove of garlic is equivalent to 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. So I'm gonna use, since our recipe calls for 2 cloves of garlic, I'm gonna use 2 teaspoons of garlic. I'm gonna wait for oil to heat up. So our oil is heated, and then I'm adding garlic. And we'll let that cook for a minute. Thank you. So cooking garlic first helps you bring all that aroma. And we're going to turn it down a little bit. Since I'm doing it on TV and I don't have an opportunity to wash my hands often, I'm changing my gloves often. But if you are in your kitchen, remember to wash your hands often. So our garlic is golden, so now we're gonna add our green beans. And make sure it's all mixed well. And cook it for approximately 5 to 6 minutes. And if you don't like if you like your green beans crunchy, you can cook it a little less, and then if you like them softer, you can cook them longer. That's the beauty of making your own dishes. You can cook them to your own liking. And then if you are going to a party, bringing a healthy dish will help not only you to stay healthy, but everyone else at the party. And also notice how it didn't take me too much time, so you actually don't have to slave in the kitchen throughout all day to prepare a meal. You can make healthy, delicious meals in a short amount of time. I did not put a timer on my green beans, so we're gonna improvise. So I like my green beans a little bit toasted, so I'm gonna let them toast and get a little darker. And also notice how I didn't use a lot of oil. I just used 1 teaspoon oil for about a pound of green beans. And then we'll add a little bit of salt to taste. Sprinkle a little bit of salt. And a little bit of black pepper. And you can also add crushed pepper if you like spicy. Cayenne pepper. Any seasoning you wish. Also, you don't have to cook it in electric skillet. You can cook it on stovetop. I am using electric skillet because I cannot bring my stovetop here. But if you do have electric skillet, it can actually save you the stovetop room if you're cooking a lot of different dishes. So you can make it in an electric skillet as well. And you would be surprised, there are a lot of recipes that you can make in electric skillet, and if you need those recipes, you can always call our office and ask for recipes. We have plenty of healthy, delicious recipes. So our green beans are getting a little toasted, so I'm gonna let them cook a couple more minutes, and then I will remove them from heat and sprinkle with grated Parmesan cheese. And you can buy a chunk of Parmesan cheese and grate it yourself. I just bought grated to help me save some time. Okay, I am going to turn off my skillet because they look toasted. And I still like them crunchy, so that's why I'm removing them earlier. But if you want your green beans softer, you can let them cook longer. And then you can remove it from heat. We're actually going to put it in a bowl. And then we'll sprinkle cheese on top. And this can be a healthy alternative for your green bean casserole. It saves you calories, it saves you time, and it can actually save you money. Parmesan cheese. I didn't put Parmesan cheese in between, but you can put them in layers as well. And this is our garlic Parmesan green beans. So now the last thing, well, not the last thing, another thing fun about holidays with all the gatherings, delicious food, and Gifts is leftovers. Everyone loves leftovers because you can eat for a week and you can make a lot of different things with leftovers. But again, as we talked before, we want to make sure that our leftovers are preserved in a safe way. So if leftovers have stayed at room temperature more than 2 hours, you actually want to go ahead and discard that because it's not safe to consume it. And then when putting leftovers away, you want to use shallow containers. And you can use, I have 2 different kinds of containers just as a sample. You have like 1 compartment or 2 compartment containers. The shallow containers will help your food cool faster. And also this is good, that way you don't have to freeze everything or save everything at the same time, and you can save it, freeze it in small portions, so when you do need to take it out, you can thaw it in small portions, because once you thaw your food, you don't want to refreeze your food. And then when you are also reheating your leftovers, as I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that you're reheating your leftovers to 165 degrees, and that's the safe temperature. And you want to make sure you're taking the measurements at 2 different spots. And that's it. And if your leftovers are usually good to 3 to 5 days, and if your food's in the refrigerator, but they can stay up to 3 months in the freezer, depending on different foods. And if your leftover food has been in the refrigerator more than 7 days, you want to go ahead and discard it. So you want to enjoy, if you're not going to eat your leftovers right away, within the 2-3 days, or 3 to 5 days, you want to go ahead and put it in the freezer right away. And if you know that you're going to eat it the next day or 2 days after, you can keep it in the refrigerator. And that's it for today. And if you have any questions, you can call our office. And if you need any other electric skillet recipes, you can call our office as well. And our phone number is 770-528-4070. And if you have any questions regarding how to cook your turkey or ham properly, you can call our office as well. We are here to answer all of your food safety and nutrition related questions. Thank you.
How long have we been married, dear?
For 76 years.
He was kind and generous to me before we married, and he was kind and generous to me all these years that we have been married. We had been looking at a lot of different houses in different places around that area, and when we came by this house, it was green, and I love green. I'm Irish. And so I said, oh, there's our house. I know it. We decided on Meals on Wheels because at my age, I was getting to the point where I couldn't do all the things that I had been able to do. We're the Spans. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
Finally, we found his assignment. He rushed through it. I wonder if he even learned anything.
I wasn't gonna get it right, so I just wanted to get back to playing my video game. At least I'm good at that.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free online resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Here you'll get personalized recommendations, practical tips, daily access to experts, and more. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org.